The Conjuring 2 was a great film, but what actually happened at Enfield? The Enfield Haunting is known as one of the most documented and most incredible proof that proves the existence of the paranormal. And with the release of The Conjuring 2, I decided to do a video on how reliable the Enfield Haunting was. In August 1977, Peggy Hodgson, the mother of Janet, Johnny and Margaret, called the police after her children had claimed that the furniture was moving and distinctive knocking sounds were being heard inside the walls. One of the police that was called had witnessed the poltergeist, saying,
"There were 4 distinct taps on the wall, and then silence. About 2 minutes later, I heard more tapping from a different wall. The other police constable checked the walls, attic, and pipes, but could find nothing to explain the knocking. The eldest son of the family pointed to a chair next to the sofa. I then saw the chair slide across the floor. It moved approximately 3 to 4 feet, and then came to rest. I checked the chair, but could find nothing to explain how it had moved."
It came off the floor, or maybe a ½ inch, I should say, and I saw it slide off to the right, about 3.5 to 4 feet before it came to rest. I checked to see whether or not it could possibly have slid along the floor. I placed a marble on the floor to see whether or not the marble would go in the same direction as the chair did, and it didn't roll at all. I checked for wires under the cushion of the chair, and I could find no explanation at all.
On top of that, Vic Nottingham has many accounts where Lego was thrown across the room and times where the poltergeist had personally attacked him. The story of this alleged haunted house became headline news, and every investigator involved with the paranormal wanted to see this ghost in action. The new movie, The Conjuring 2, portrays Ed and Lorraine Warren and the Hodgson family. In the movies, you would have assumed that the Warrens were a big part of the Enfield house investigation and ridding it of the spirits. However, in reality, the Warrens had very briefly visited the house. To back this up, there are minimal to no cases that involve the Warrens in relation to the Enfield poltergeist. The only case that they had visited the house was from Guy Lyon Playfair, who was one of the main investigators who had interviewed the Hodgsons when the paranormal activity had just started, said that the Warrens had showed up uninvited and only stayed for a day. Some other accounts say that afterwards they had dismissed the whole phenomenon as a hoax and they thought that the family were only looking for attention. Bill Wilkins was supposedly the spirit that inhabited Jeanette Hudson when the paranormal activity was at its peak. During the paranormal activity, Bill Wilkins spoke through Janet, beginning with animal sounds and growls to intelligent spoken responses. Many of the audio tapes taken by Maurice show who Bill Wilkins was. In one instance, an investigator asked the spirit, This was groundbreaking in the paranormal because there was a man who lived in the house before the Hodgson family who was a man called Bill, and the son of Bill had confirmed that he died in a similar way that Janet had explained while she was possessed by Bill Wilkins. Janet and Margaret both thought that they had got into contact with Bill after they had a Ouija board session. They believe that this is what caused most of the paranormal activity, as after their session, supernatural activity began. Evidence against the Enfield haunting comes straight from Jenna herself in the Enfield Poltergeist investigations. When asked the question, how does it feel being haunted by a ghost? Janet replies,
"It's not haunted."
Of which her sister Margaret whispers hastily,
"Shut up."
Many skeptics believe that this is proof that the Enfield haunting was fake due to Janet saying,
"It's not haunted,"
which could lead people to think that she faked it and accidentally admitted the whole thing being fake. However, it could be argued that she said that it's not haunted because she had got used to it, as Margaret explains afterwards, saying that I've learned to accept the things that happen. This could explain why Janet said it's not haunted, because she feels it doesn't haunt them because they've got used to it. More evidence against the Enfield haunting was taken from an interview with Janet from a Daily Mail article decades after the incident. More evidence against the Enfield haunting was taken from an interview with Janet from a Daily Mail article decades after the incident. And when asked how much of the phenomena at Green Street was faked, Janet replies, I'd say 2%. With this evidence, what's assuming the family didn't fake more of the paranormal events? It also states in the article that many of the children were caught bending spoons while the reporters were there. As well as this, nobody was allowed in the same room as Janet when she was using her gruff voice, says the investigator. This suggests that Janet and her family could have fabricated some instances of the paranormal activity in the house, but she does say that she fabricated some parts because investigators had travelled a long way just to see the paranormal activity, and when the ghost didn't do anything, Janet felt responsible, and she felt as though it was her duty for tables to turn or knocking to be heard. However, there are some instances where this evidence can be contradicted, because Janet says that she was bullied at school. She says that they called me Ghost Girl and put crane flies down my back. As well as this, she says that her brother was called a freak boy from the ghost house and people would spit on him on the street. So, if it was fake, then why would the family endure the pains of getting bullied and abused by the public? On the other hand, you could say that the lie could have gone to the point where they couldn't get out of the spiraling lie because it had gone too far. As well as that, the Hodgson family had not benefited financially at all from the Enfield house. So why would they take all the hate and the abuse if they did not get anything in return? What made the Enfield haunting headline news was that it was referred to as the English Amityville. As well as that, Ed and Lorraine Warren were the leading paranormal investigators in the field at the time, and anybody who knows anything about the paranormal have got a story about the Warrens. But Ed Warren was known to over-exaggerate certain events when investigating the paranormal. The fact that he has been caught and was known for being notorious for exaggerating and even making up incidents in some cases may prove that the Enfield haunting may not be reliable in many of the Warrens' case files when they were investigating the Enfield house. However, there has been very minimal evidence suggesting that the Warrens had any contact with the Enfield house like the movie The Conjuring 2 may suggest. Many skeptics also believe that the demonic voices was produced by fake vocal cords above the larynx. Many people say that the family were just skilled ventriloquists. Evidence that supports this is when Bill Wilkins spoke through Janet, he had the vocabulary of a child. However, there are evidence that this proves that the girls are ventriloquists, which the documentary made very clear within it.
Mr. Gross, a lot of people, hearing these voices produced by the children, will simply say that they are very good ventriloquists and that this is all a hoax. How would you react to that?
Certainly not. They're certainly not very good ventriloquists. We have had tests on them to see whether they can ventriloquize. They can't. To keep up this particular type of voice for any length of time without damage to the vocal cords is absolutely impossible. I mean, there must be some hoarseness attached to it. But don't forget, these children don't do this for a couple of minutes or so. They do it for lengths of periods up to 3 hours, and without any hoarseness or sore throats whatsoever. Well, perhaps, Guy, perhaps you've got something to say.
These tests could be false, as the girls could easily fake not being able to ventriloquize, when in fact they could. The biggest argument against the Enfield Poltergeist is that any controlled investigations that had taken place failed to find any ghosts or spirits that proved the paranormal. It was only when it wasn't controlled, and there could be distractions, was when there was paranormal activity. But when Jeanette Hudson talks about people who believe she is a fake, it seems like she is deeply offended and feels distressed emotionally that people won't believe her, and in my opinion, seems like she is being genuine.
I know people say, and I don't care what they say, it wasn't them, it was me. I know what happened and I know it was real. How would they like it if this happened to them? and they would be being called a fake or whatever. I don't care what they think. I know what happened and I know it was real. I value them very much, and I'm very grateful for giving us the chance to tell our true story.
My overall thoughts on this is very mixed because I am very unsure whether this is a hoax or not. On one hand, there is evidence suggesting that there could have been trickery between Jenna and Margaret. As well as this, there are too many accounts from people who believe it happened, like a police officer who saw it with their own eyes. However, it could be argued that they just wanted publicity and couldn't get out of the spiralling lie that they conjured up.
Did any friends go with you?
Yes, all of them. All the dogs, 68 dogs.
So what have you got 68 dogs for?
So that they can protect me from you killing me. They can bite your head off.
How can we kill you, Bill?
You could shoot me off.
Now how can we shoot you if we can't see you, Bill?
My friend, you gone.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Bill.
My friend, you gone.
But tell me what you think down in the comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching.